spice with nothing but politics. And we are here on this Sunday special. We are live, and we are live with no one other than the General, Robert Moncio Kpadeh, as our guest. He is the leader of the One People Revolutionary Movement. Mr. Kpadeh, at this time, we, the Focus on Liberia family, dearly want to welcome you. Welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite. I can pull a price on it. It's always a great pleasure to join fellow citizens to talk about our country, talk about the politics and governance of our country. So I'm excited. I'm hopeful that this will be a very insightful conversation as it relates where do our country go from here. So thank you for the invite, and it's my honor. It's my honor.
And we are also very honored to have you as we start our conversation, folks. Hit that share button so that we can all hear from this brother on the governance issues of our country. Liberia is all we got, and we want to talk about it and not baby about it. And so we will do the talking. Our topic, are we standing or stranded on the promises of Weah? That is President George Moncio Weah, President of the Republic of Liberia. He has made a lot of promises to all of us for the governance of our country. And we are here to look at those promises to know whether we are standing on the promises firmly or we are getting stranded. And Robert is the one to tell us whether we are stranded or standing. All right, Mr. Jad, let's get the ball rolling here. Are you set from your end?
This is all set, and we are ready to go with
all right. And so I want to say to you, President Weah made some promises on the day of inauguration, and Mr. Jad will read those promises. And Robert, take note and be ready. All right. Can you introduce yourself first of all, Mr. Kpadeh?
My name is Robert Weah Moncio Kpadeh. I'm the leader of the One People Revolutionary Movement. Mm-hmm. I'm a former journalist with over 25 years of publishing and practices. I'm the owner of the Pirate newspaper. I'm a revolutionary. I'm a peace and development expert. I sometimes serve as a politician, working in government bureaucracy as a deputy minister of information. I'm no longer a politician. I'm a revolutionary now. I'm a writer, and I'm a grassrooter. I'm a son of a market woman. I believe that we own our country together, and I believe collectively we should stand up for our country. Doesn't matter who is in the establishment. We should stand up and speak truth to power and write truth to power. And that's what I do on a daily basis. And that's what the One People Revolutionary Movement does across this country. We're traversing this country, going to every hamlet, every town, every village, every district, every city, every county, to have a wonderful conversation with our people about governance in this country and the quality of leaders that they should elect to public offices. So we like what we're doing because we want the best for our country, and this is a wonderful opportunity to share our thoughts with you. So thank you for having us, and thank you for the invite.
Thank you, Mr. Robert Moncio Kpadeh, and welcome to Focus on Liberia for the first time. I know you may have followed us. What we do here is to educate, to promote and elevate all things Liberia. Before we even begin talking about the promises, I know there is a lot of political polarization around now. So by the time you open your mouth to speak, people say, oh, he's opposition, oh, he's pro-government. So the president has made a lot of promises, which we're going to go into later on. But before we even start the ball rolling, tell us why you are in a better position to assess the policy or the promises of President Weah, whether they've been actualized or not. Why should Moncio talk to us about the promises of President Weah?
Well, the first thing, I'm a pundit. I'm a stakeholder in the body politics of our country. I lead a rising political revolutionary movement, the OPRM, or if you may, the One People Revolutionary Movement. I'm a Liberian. I'm a critic. I'm a professional. I'm an intellectual in this country. So I have a stake. And so because I have the stake, because I have the capacity, because I have the intellectual ability, and because I am a leader, I do have a stake, and I must give my perspectives on the governance of our country. So I'm in a far better position to talk about the politics of this country, because I'm a stakeholder, I'm a leader, and I do have the qualification to do that. That's why I think I'm in the best position to hold this conversation with you.
And so if you are listening, watching us via television or Facebook or any social media platform, welcome to Focus on Liberia. We are discussing with Mr. Robert Moncio Kpadeh on the promises made by President Weah. And we start with those promises that were made on day one of inauguration. Number one, and I read, I'm quoting President Weah, it will be my task and duty to lead this nation from division to hope and prosperity. Promise number two, I will go further to encourage and reinforce not only freedom of speech, but also freedom of political assembly. Promise number three, during my tenure as President of Liberia, the loudest battle cry that must ring from the mountains of Wologisi to the peak of Yekepa, from the ranges of Putu to the hills of Bomin, and from the coast of Harper to the shores of Monrovia, must be the cry of national unity. Promise number four, the foundation of the new Liberia will be enforced by the steel of integrity. Promise number five, the most effective way to directly impact the poor and narrow the gap between the rich and the poor is to ensure that public resources do not end up in the pockets of government officials. I want somebody to say, "Sao." Promise number six, it is time to put the interests of our people above our own selfish interests. It is time to be honest with our people. 7, though corruption is a habit amongst our people, we must end it. Promise number 8, we must pay civil servants a living wage so that corruption is not an excuse for taking what is not theirs. Promise number 9, those who do not refrain from enriching themselves at the expense of the people, the law will take its course. I say to you today, you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Promise number 10, Liberians will not be spectators in their own economy. Back to you, Mr. Sear.
Thank you, Mr. Ja. The excellently reading promises made by our president on the day of inauguration. We are coming back to our guest. Mr. Kpadeh, you clearly and religiously, if I may say, listening to the reading, excellently done by Mr. Ja. And I will want us to split them into two so that we can go down the line. Let's look at the first 5 promises he read. This is what I capture. He talked about division. He talked about hope. He talked about prosperity. He talked about freedom of speech and political assembly. He talked about national unity. He talked about integrity. He talked about trust, accountability, and justice in the first 5 promises. You hearing those words, what's your reaction? Are we standing on those promises made by the president, or are we stranded?
We are extremely stranded. 2 years ago, I listened to Mr. Weah gave a very, very lofty speech, and that speech was embedded, impregnated, saturated with very excellent and sweet promises. Some of the promises Brother Judge just chronicled. 2 years on and more are counting. None of those promises, all right, come true, all right? And we'll pick them one by one. Division, all right? When former President Sirleaf finally disengaged and in her final message, annual message to the legislature, she found the courage to say to our country and the rest of the world that I fell on reconciliation, giving her successor the leeway to put emphasis on reconciliation, to put emphasis on unity. Mr. Weah, who will come a session, listen to President Sirleaf, all right, Mr. Weah, who is a grassroots, Mr. Weah, who claimed to be a peacemaker. The nation taught Mr. Weah, all right, having emphasized that in his speech that he will unite the country or unify the country. Mr. Weah has categorically failed on division, on uniting the country. The country is more divided. The ruling establishment is more divisive. If you listen to the rhetorics of Mr. Weah and his adherents and his poodles and lackeys, what do they say? People who issue scathing dissent, people like me, they call me enemies of the state. People like me, who probably work in the previous government, all right? They regurgitate very damning commentaries against me only because I issue dissent to them, or I am very critical in my perspective to them, and I try to bring the regime into the fore. Mr. Weah has not been seen involved in any initiative whatsoever to unite the country. Not in his commentaries, not in his public pronouncements, not even in his government. Look at the regime of the current regime and the chemistry of the regime, the configuration of the regime. The configuration is clearly Southeastern, Maryland, Grand Jide, Grand Crew, Sano, all right? So this is not a president, all right, that is indicating to you that he has any interest whatsoever to unite the country, beginning with his government. All right, his government is saturated with core people, many people from Sano, people from Grand Jide, people from Maryland, and you even see the hierarchy of power in our country. All right, the protein, all right, is a Southeastern man. The speaker is a Southeastern man. Of course, the president is a Southeastern man. And then look at the chemistry of the cabinet. It reflects a Southeastern cabinet, all right? But not only that, Mr. Weah and his administration, all right, have been on several occasions to church, to public gatherings, and they alter to the world, all right, and categorize people who are critical in thought, who disagree with them, and call them enemies of the state. So there has been no evidence whatsoever, all right, to indicate, to intimate that Mr. Weah is interested in uniting the country. So our country is polarized very deeply. The divide has deepened, all right? And I can say to you, trouble looms over our country because no country thrives in the face or amid division. No country thrives, all right, where a group of citizens, marginalized and divested from the politics of the country or branded as enemies of the state because of their opinions. Mr. Weah came to power, even though not in the election considered, from a critical perspective, totally free and fair. The election was impregnated with irregularities and fraud. Be that as it may, he became president. Okay? So Mr. Weah ultimately came to the presidency on the back of democracy. All right? But this Weah does not respect the tenets of democracy. All right? He's not tolerant, all right, to critical opinion, to dissent. He's not willing to form a government that is reflective of the total geography of our country, including an all-inclusive country, which is very critical and germane to peace. So he failed on the issue of reconciliation. The country is terribly divided. So contrary to what he promised in his State of the Nation address, that the country will be peaceful, that the country will be united, and the people will live harmoniously. Mr. We have failed the nation on that. The country is not harmonious. The country is divided very terribly, and he's not providing leadership.
Mr. Kpadeh.
On the issue of corruption.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I wanted to bring you on the issue of freedom of speech and freedom of the press. We saw numerous protests taking place in Liberia. We see that people are speaking their mind on social media. We've listened to people even insulting the president. I have no knowledge of any of them going to prison because of that. I may be wrong. So people are speaking their mind. So somebody might think that freedom of speech, and political assembly is taking place in the country.
Well, several journalists have been flogged. The late Zina Mida, one of the best journalists, broadcast journalists, was flogged mercilessly by this regime. You just on three days ago saw the Liberian media protested and issued a resolution, all right? And in that resolution, they chronicle, all right, rivers of assault on Liberian journalists. What does that indicate? It indicates that the regime is not tolerant. I just said to you when I was responding and talking about each division, how people like us, okay, have been branded as enemies of the state. All right. So there is no tolerance in the country. All right. And we see tons of cases where journalists and critical thinkers are either been assaulted or insulted and stuff like that. All right. So this is a regime that is not showing tolerance. All right. You saw the media for the first time in our country. Journalists took the street. They had a peaceful protest to say to the world that Mr. Weah, your security apparatus, all right, are continuously unleashing bravado on us. They are beating us. They are assaulting us because we have to do our job. In a wholesome, functioning democracy, the media must not be trampled on. The media must have the right to do its job unhindered. But this is not the case. I am not saying it. You saw journalists, all right, talk to the street. They went to the UN headquarters. They went to the American embassy. They went to the legislature to give the resolution, all right, to say, look, we don't like the atmosphere. We don't like the way we've been subjected to tyranny, all right, by this regime. This regime is intolerant. They're jumping on journalists. They're brutalizing them. This cannot be a regime. Well, read the current State Department report on human rights. It also points to cases of human rights violation, cases of abuse, whether from prison, whether critical thing. I'll give you a clear example. Patrick Hunter, which is indicated in our report. Patrick Hunter works for Firestone, and he's a credit. Okay, on many occasions he espouses his view, he pontificates his view on the issue of governance in the country, like I do, and many other Liberians do, and reserve the right to do. Mr. Weah and his cabinet will go to Firestone and say, we want this man out. This is intolerance, all right? People like us cannot easily survive here. We're here because we stand for our country, love our country, because they are not ready and willing to accept, all right, the skill of tolerance, which is basically professional on the basis of fact to accept. So I think this is not a tolerant regime, all right? And we know several accounts, which we can look in the human rights report issued by the State Department. We know how they've been jumping on journalists, and we know how they've been weaponizing. You listen to Finance Minister who said we weaponize partisan and party faithfuls to jump on the social media, okay, and unleash, insults and terror and on people like Robert Kpadeh and other people, So this is non-tolerance. Tolerance is allowing people the right to their views and the right to dissent, because you took 12 years in power, all right? You pontificated blistering opposition to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. You said to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, step down. You said to other people in government, X, Y, Z. Today, you do not have the temperament, you do not have the pulse to accept and to do what? Absorb or stomach criticism. And criticisms that are germane, criticisms that are anchored on the facts. So I think on the issue of criticism, on the issue of tolerance, Mr. Weah, again, is in the pool of the red. He's in the red.
And Mr. Kpadeh, the general, if I may, on the issue of accountability, public trust, and justice that you wanted to go into,
yeah.
When the news of the $16 billion came out, the government acted by breaking in a team to investigate. There was the PIT, and there was the crowd that came in. I think the effort was financed by USAID. And so efforts were being made to get to the bottom of that matter, and also the $25 million. So one would think that that was an effort on the part of the government to bring about accountability on the issue. Is there a promise that you want to believe that we are stranded on, or are we standing on it?
We are absolutely stranded on this. Look, first thing, let's establish the fact. The government was compelled to call people because there was a protest, all right, by a chronicle of civil rights group or rights group, all right, calling on the government and international community to ensure that the issue of 16 billion be investigated. Of course, you know the story was uncovered by the Chronicle newspaper or the Hot Pepper newspaper, and the government outrightly rejected the report. Later, accepted the report. The Crow International came in, hired by the American embassy. They came in, and they conducted a very professional, in-depth investigation. Okay, and they found people culpable. They talk about misdeal, they talk about misdealing, and they talk about people taking responsibility. President Weah took that report and passed the report over to a special task force committee. Okay, that task force committee investigated and named and shamed people, including the finance minister, the central bank governor, and other people in his regime. Mr. Weah, again, will not find the temerity or the courage to bring the people to book and ask them to account. All right, he passed it on to GSA. The GSA also lead through it in a very thorough way, and they came up with a report pointing to foul play. But so we are again will pass it to the LSCC to look into it. It's been over 3-4 months. Where is the report? Where is the report? Now, there is one thing to make an announcement that we will look into the matter and we. But what is important for us is outcome. When people allegedly steal public money, when people allegedly loot and plunder our country money, they should not go with impunity. Impunity is one of the perennial vices that made our country poor, that made our people wretched, poor, and peasant. We cannot continue to live with these vices. The very vices, Mr. Weah came and said, look, you know what? We are saying to you, our agenda is hope for change. It means we will take a flat away from the old order. It means we will not do things the way the past regimes were doing things. But this is not the case today. All right? We see the anomalies, we see the abnormalities, we see the odds, we see the vices of the old order continue to hunt down our country. The corruption is massive, impunity is massive, nepotism is massive. Nothing has fundamentally changed. In fact, things has gotten worse on the Weah. All right? Things are getting worse on the Weah. So my thing is, comrade, my thing is to you, this is not about making pronouncement. This is about action. This is Mr. Weah saying, look, we want to get the outcome of 25 million that was used in the name of mob exercise. Mr. Weah must show the political will, all right, to ensure foreclosure of the 16 billion case. Do you know that a fortnight ago, Councillor Arthur Johnson, that was hired by this government to go after former public officials that I believe to have stolen public money, okay, resigned? The asset recovery thing is in a complete chaos, is in a mess, all right, complete fiasco. Do you know why? In his letter, which is published on Facebook, he is saying this government does not show any seriousness, genuineness, in any political way to fight corruption. Okay, this is clear evidence, preponderant evidence, sort of evidence to even further strengthen my argument, all right, or argue the point that Mr. Weah, all right, does not have the discipline, does not have the skill of honesty to fight corruption, all right, and this is very critical. We are a poor country because our people have been subjected to thievery, all right. Our resources in this country, after 174 years, all right, sold to the rest of the world. Our extractive industry, we sold iron ore, we sold rubber, we sold timber, we sold log, and many are gold and diamond. Where is the money? What can we show? It's because our country, since its establishment, political establishment come to power, they grab power, presidents are subjected or bow to the whims and caprices of the trappings of powers, all right? And at the end of the day, our people are the sole victim. They get rich, all right? Before power, they say rhetoric. We will come and make a change. We will come and put economic dignity in the lives of the people. We will ensure that people account for it, like Mr. Weah said. He said there will be no day for corruption. But under Mr. Weah, there is rivers of corruption. All right? The 25 million issue, the 16 billion. Mr. Weah, okay, is alleged, all right, to have received this money. All right? Mr. Weah now need to find a political will if his hands, all right, are not in the cookies jar, find the political will to ensure that this case is exhausted to a foregone conclusion, and the Liberian people get resolved, and those who are found and robbing this country and stealing money that were printed to be used by our country, all right, face the law and face the penalty thereof. But Mr. Weah cannot, and I challenge him to do that. If his hands are not in the cookies jar, then Mr. Weah should find the temerity to say, look, all of you who are involved, the law will take a course. The political will must be injected in that case to ensure that it reaches foregone conclusion, and those who are found culpable face the law as in keeping with the laws. But that is not the case. Now, let me bring in one point on the issue of corruption and abuse of power. The chairman of the ruling establishment, Mr. Mobile Mulu, and I respect him for that. I respect people who find the courage to speak truth to power. He said Mr. Weah is going across the world in the name of our country, generating millions of dollars and diverting the money to his personal use. I mean, we call this expropriation of power, abuse of power, and this is just reprehensible. This is just bad, and it just reveals a lot. This is a man who claimed to be a grassrooter. This is a man who came to power on the backs of the people, who thought he was a whore. But listen to his party chairman today. I'm not making a claim. His party chairman making a claim on record that this man is gallivanting the world, all right, and using our country name to generate millions. And when the money, when the monies come, the monies are diverted to a personal use. This is sad, all right. So what about the 10 million China Union Fund? Money meant, royalty meant for Mangibi, Bank, and Maserado. 10 million for China Union. Where is that money? There is no report. What happened to the donors' money? What happened to the donors' money? All right? Our development partner, they have money here for healthcare and other things. They jump into that money and siphon the money, bringing the country to disgrace, demeaning our country. So this is not a regime that is disciplined. They are corrupt, all right? And you cannot even measure the corruptibility of this regime. So on the issue of corruption, as you talk about, Mr. Weah promised the Liberian people in his inaugural speech, no, it was a complete facade, all right? Complete mad, empty political talk. He has not been able to live in line with his promises for the last 2 years.
Thank you. Again, folks, you are watching Focus on Liberia. It's Sunday Special, and our guest is the general, the leader of the One People Revolutionary Movement, Mr. Robert Moncio Kpadeh, and he is telling us that on the promises, we are stranded. We are definitely not standing. My name is Anthony Sie, co-hosting with Mr. Daneja. You are just joining us here at Focus on Liberia via Facebook Live. Please share the show. Mr. Kpadeh has a lot in stock to share with us. All right, final word in the first 5 promises read is the word integrity. I'm sure you love that word. Is
yes.
The president standing firm on that?
Look, I mean, this is even gone worse. Look, and I said to one of the pundits of Mr. Weah or the CDC or the ruling establishment that even in the midst of, I mean, you can have the best government policy prescriptions, you can have the best written policy agenda. If the regime does not present, all right, the integrity to ensure that policies work, to ensure that the agenda works, it's just a mere fiasco. All right? Take, for instance, I give you a classic example. The public buses in our country, the National Transit Authority, the NTA, all right? The bus, just recently, the Indian government dashed us on ratting used cars, all right? And we keep backing, and we have no reason to back as a rich country with so much endowment. But the Indian dash, but before the Indian dash us, the 20 plus or 50 plus used bus. Monies were allotted to the NTA, specifically to buy parts so that they can retool those buses that were down, broken down. What happened? And again, reports are available. The authority at the NTA siphoned the money, swindled the money, thereby denying the Liberian people public transport. Now, so if there was a policy to promote or enhance public transport, and the executive director of the NTA steals out the money, all right, swindle the money, NTA, there's no buses, our people, I mean, of course, you know the economic condition of our country. People are in complete terror here, very horrible. I mean, life is difficult in this country. It's perilous now to live in this country because people are totally suffering. Then means by which the burden of struggle can be lessened. Public official will not permit that, but rather go on to steal public money. It's horrible, all right? And we saw that. So integrity matters in governance system, all right? And what is integrity? Integrity is, look, when there is $50, all right, allotted to do a piece of job, and the law says the $50 contract here must be subjected to public bidding, must be subjected to all of the laws and regulations and procedures. The government must ensure that it subjects itself to the basic laws before granting that contract. That is not the case. This is a government. President Weah grants road contracts from his Jamaica resort. All right? He stays at home, grants road contracts to his Lawanese business friends. No respect for the rule of law, no respect for public procurement laws, no respect for legislative law. And the classic example is what I just talked about recently. The RIA road project, they want to modernize the RIA road project, they want to expand the road. That is not a problem. We do not interpose any objection to development. But when you're spending $101 million United States dollars to do a road, that entire process must be subjected to a transparent bidding process. Nothing like that was done. They refuse, all right, or bypass the procurement laws. They bypass the ratification process that such huge contract must be subjected to. For what? Only because you have elements who want to get returns, okay? Who want to get black envelope or brown envelope in return, what you call kickbacks. This is wrong. So the government does not have any integrity. A government that go to the banks and steal donors' money does not have integrity. A government that cannot find the courage and the temerity, all right, to exhaust, to a foregone conclusion, $25 million stolen. And you're talking about money that could be used to extricate peasant Liberians from the dungeon of poverty. This government cannot, all right? When money disappears, and then people cannot tell you why. How can this be a government integrity? So the government absolutely does not have integrity to even lead, to even direct the country and move the country forward. And this is just a complete hell. All right. This is very, very unfortunate, but it does not have integrity, you know, to even the fact that the ruling party chairman comes up in public and said to you, Mr. Weah goes around the place, he traversed the war in the name of our country, all right, generating millions of dollars and directing the money to his personal use. I mean, I leave that with you to rationalize that. Does this government have integrity? When the ruling establishment party chairman says that, it does not have integrity. And this is reprehensible. Okay? The guys are just incorrectable. They're not willing to listen and change. They're on a straight line. And I'm sorry, this is sheer banditry. Sheer banditry. This is not governance.
Mr. Kpadeh, let me read a few comments here. Some of them are directed at you. Let's start from the first one here said, let me read Christopher Tobasi. Crisis brings out the best in King George. Do you remember during our Civil War? So folks, I'm not too worried about this COVID-19, aka coronavirus affecting Liberia. And that's because there is a comment here, somebody said, why are we talking politics when everybody else is talking about the coronavirus? Let's go on here. Nukrutam Pekin says, some of us have the responsibility to correct this dreadful wrong. Dave just said, and before you even started opening your mouth, people started to challenge you. So Dave just, right? The man has not opened his mouth. You are on his throat. Che. River says pro. The entire world is focusing on the virus. These guys are talking about Liberian politics. Really? Nugutan Pekin again. Let me smartly agree with you. The crux of the support base of... Okay, George Toto is asking, what will you say the entire Lofa County voting for Joseph N. Boakai? Again, Nugutan Pekin said, Weah is messing up, but Robert Kpadeh isn't the person. He is a mixture of contradiction and double standard to discuss it. Yeah, you respond. Let me read a few more. George Toto say identity politics had polarized Liberia and you can't shift the blame on one regime. Dave Jassy, Mr. Kpadeh, by virtue of your association with the Ellen's government and you did not resign, does that not disqualify you to judge the current government? What responsibilities can you take for your role in the past government? Wiki Marwan Benito said, this is not the time to talk about politics. Unite and fight the virus crisis instead of talking nonsense here. All right. Lofa Julius, according to our sources, our people are doing well, applying the needed preventive methods to prevent the outbreak of coronavirus, thanks to the authority. Judge Toto, where was Mr. Kpadeh when his nephew Joseph M. Boakai was vice president and Liberia resources were squandered? Agatha Shelley said, please call off this co-host, man. Focus on Liberia, talk lies too much. He worked at LPRC. What he did, you keep the blueprint. Mr. I didn't work at LPRC. Did you, Mr. Who was it? You, Mr. Kpadeh?
No, I worked there before.
Mr. Sia, did you?
No, I never worked for government in my entire life.
Oh, right. So, Agatha, I don't know who worked for LPRC, but these are some of the comments. So, Mr. Kpadeh, the first one is your standing on talking about President Weah's failed promises, as you stated, when you work in the Ellen government. So, respond to those comments.
But look, and I listen to the gibberish most of the time, regurgitated by these seditious. All right. Now, when you say Kpadeh cannot talk, I don't know how, on what basis, how do you derive for that? All right. I am a professional. I am a Liberian. I went to the government before even the Ellen government. I've worked in this country in Liberia as a radical revolutionary journalist. All right, for over 20 years. I fought for democracy in this country, and some of the kids that send out the gibberish don't even know people. I worked in this country fighting for press freedom. I went to prison, fighting for democracy, fighting for economic justice in this country for 20 years, writing the evidence there. All right, through many papers, including my paper, the Pirate newspaper. All right, then I'm called, and I worked for 3 years and a half in the Eden government. I serve. My hands are clean. So because I serve in the government, it doesn't give me the right to speak. All right, Mr. Weah worked in the government as peace ambassador. Mr. Tua worked in the Eden government. Okay, Mr. Magay worked in the Eden government as assistant minister. All right, so a whole lot of them work in the Eden government, and even with bigger jobs than me. So that argument is frivolous and silly. That's not an argument. This is our country. We own it together. Okay. All of us have the right to weigh in on the governance issue of our country, to weigh in on the discussions that and the collective and the issues that matter to us. If you do not have the capacity to do that, I'm sorry, I do, and I will continue to do that. Okay, you cannot say I don't have the right. I'm a mixture of contradiction. State the contradiction. I'm a consistent person. My struggle have been very, very strict, like a Northern style. I've been resisting the ills in our country. I've been writing against it. My writings are there. They can be seen on Google. People know me, all right? And my advocacy has been very, very unequivocal, very clear. Resisting structural violence, resisting the ills of society, resisting bad governance, corruption, and thievery. So I do have the right, I do have the integrity to speak on it because my hands are clean. I'm not stealing public money. Everything I own, I work for it as a private businessman before even joining government at the time, and left government with my clean hands. I've never been investigated for fraud. I've never been investigated for corruption in my whole life, whether public, private. So why I should not speak up? So whoever saying, well, there's a Moncio Kpadeh is not the person to speak, I mean, that person is in error, and I can say to them, go and see no more.
All right, Mr. Robert Moncio Kpadeh there. He is the leader of the One People Revolutionary Movement. He is here. I focus on Liberia, and we are discussing the topic, are we standing or stranded on the promises of President Weah? And he said to us, we are very stranded. We have a caller. We'll take that caller quickly, Mr. Kpadeh. Christopher Tubasi, the floor is yours, and quickly to the issue.
Yes. Oh, thank you very much. Mr. Kpadeh, will you say that President Weah has not kept any of his promises at all? If yes, what will you say about road construction or constructions? That's one. Two, you talk about corruption. Have you ever seen any country in the world that is corruption-free? If no, did President Weah fire those corrupt officials at National Housing Authority? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kpadeh?
You want me to respond right away?
Yeah.
But I need to encourage you. Look, the first thing, the issue about road construction, the first thing we want to talk about is transparency of the road construction. Before we get to, because Mr. Weah has been involved with community roads. I don't see that in the promises we talk about. Those are not anything to talk about, but he's been involved with community roads. What is important for us, and I want you to listen, Mr. Caller, is the transparency of the community roads. I challenge you, all right, to prove to me all of the 10, 15, 20, whatever you want to tell me, 100 community roads that he built, those roads that do not even have economic return. Because there are so many economic return of project. They do not have economic return. But be that as it may, we celebrate development. But what is critical for us? There's so many in procurement called value for money. So if a road costs 500,000, and you tell me you spend 10 million to do that road, you've now helped my country. You're stealing from my country. You're using roads as a shield to rob my country. And this is the argument we're making. All right. So the issue of road, community roads that Mr. Weah brag about, or the establishment brag about, is just one thing. But what is the transparency process associated with granting the road contracts? Who are doing the roads? All right. How can we establish value for money, which is very germane in public survey? Because let me tell you, all the years our country has been bamboozled, swindled, and robbed by the procurement process. And this is the very reason why the procurement process, with the help of the World Bank and other international partners, okay, was established here. So a government that claims that it will be transparent, it will be responsible, it will thrive on integrity, that government must subscribe to the procurement laws and process. Okay, has Mr. Weah done that? Absolutely no, resounding no. So when you do road project in the name of trying to siphon the country, bamboozle the country, swindle the country, we do not celebrate that. So you, Mr. Carter, my good friend, we own this country together. Now, your duty should be, Mr. Weah, you build a road in Johnsonville or you build a road in Doe community. Tell us what were the processes that led to granting our contract. How much was spent? They do not tell you that. And they just displayed that recently on the RIA road. And this is the argument we're making. Okay? People can use road as a sheet to steal public money. So if the road is 500,000 and you come and tell me, say you spend 10 minutes to spend a road to build a road, I do not celebrate that project because you use the road as a sheet to swindle my country, to rob my country. And this is the argument we're making. The second question was what? He talked about what? What did he talk about? I don't remember again. The second question?
Mr. Before you go to that second question, is what evidence is there that the president is using that as an excuse to squander?
The evidence is very clear because there is no. I have challenged the government since I've been here. I've challenged the government, and there is not. See, but okay, let's begin with RIA project. The Senate, the House of Senate, all right, has categorically rejected the project because it failed to what? Follow the ratification process, which is by law. The due process says such major contract must be subjected to what? Senate ratification because you're going to take loan, nothing of the car. All right. No one, the company involved does not have the integrity. All right. But that has been with all the road projects. So as the government, because I've challenged the government over the last 2 months to give me all documents pointing, all right, thoroughly to bidding process, transparency process, and bidding, nothing of the kind. So the evidence clear that they have done. President Weah have been giving no contract, awarding no contract to business.
Mr. Kpadeh, yes. The records not being made available does not give you the right to suggest or to insinuate that money is stolen.
My dear comrade, do you not believe that a government or Mr. Weah, who said to you and myself, all right, he will govern in transparency, he will govern in accountability, he will govern in integrity? Doesn't that give you, okay, any sense of urgency to call him to book? Okay, if it hasn't, it gave me that urgency. And I've said to Mr. Weah, we know, and we've done our investigation, there's no evidence to prove that the contracts you've been awarding your Lebanese friends were subjected to a bidding process. So we have evidence for that because we've been here, we investigated that, and I asked them, I defied them to prove me on the contrary.
All right. Folks, again, this is Focus on Liberia, and we are sitting down here with Robert Moncio Kpadeh, the leader of the One People Revolutionary.
And let me make this addendum. Let me re-emphasize the addendum. Okay, I mean, since Ja was concerned about the credibility of my information, Ja, do you also take interest in the revelation, the startling revelation made by Mr. Mulu, a powerful man in the ruling establishment, the chairman of the party, who comes up publicly and said, Mr. Weah, okay, traverse the world in the name of our poor, struggling country and generate millions. All right, and that
General, let me interject here, General. Let me interject here, General. Oh, sorry, but I have to do this. The very Mamba Molu you're talking about to us, that was liquor talk. So why would you want to take liquor talk for something serious?
Look, I beg you, let us not make this thing. Look, Mamba Molu is a rational young man. I respect him. Not only that utterance, that revelation he's made, he made several very revealing utterances, and we know for sure that he doesn't speak, and will not come up. No one is drunk to bring his government down or to bring a president down. But beyond the point, what has been the response of the regime? What has been the response to Mr. Mulu? But look, like I said, there are preponderant pieces of evidence to establish graft, to establish thievery in this government, and I name them for you. I've been naming them for you. In this government. All right. What happened to the issue of the Buchanan Port? So there are rivers of issues pointing to thievery, pointing to graft, pointing to abuse of power, pointing to bad governance, and pointing to indiscipline by this regime. We see it every day.
All right. Thank you. Let's go to the line again. We have a caller. Caller, your name and where you're joining us from.
Okay. Oh, okay. I just heard it. I just got reminded of the last question.
Hello.
Yes, hello. You are live on Focus on Liberia. Your name and where you're calling us from, and we want to know from you, where do you stand politically? Where's your political alignment? And we also want to know whether we are standing or stranded on the promises of Weah, and then you can go quickly to the issue. Caller, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, we are listening to you. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, brother. This is Boo Youngly. Just been listening to Mr. Kpadeh. I mean, he outlined a lot of stuff of what's going on in Liberia. And, I just wrote a comment there which says that our people are very lazy and expect free things in Liberia. Money influences every aspect of Liberian life, which of course everybody knows. I mean, it is just unnecessary to speak or advocate on anything that going on in Liberia, because most of the people there, they are all part of it. Let's just watch and let things dictate events, because I mean, speaking on things that are going on. People know. It's just that people are afraid. People don't talk, you see, because, there are a lot of stuff. Because most of these people who are, who feel the consequences of the things that are going on, they are part and parcel. They benefit from it. I mean, if you go to Liberia right now and you carry a lot of money, everybody will be, and you spread a lot of T-shirts or give free things. People will be all over you. The next day when the money is finished, everybody forget about you. So, I mean, Liberia would need a system, it's very systemic. We need to change a lot of things. The system has to change. I mean, Weah alone cannot, I'm not advocating for Weah, but basically, Weah is just part of the whole thing. It started a long time ago. Our society needs to change. People need to change. The Liberian people themselves. Even if you enter RIA jobs now, people will start asking you, for money and all that kind of stuff. People don't believe in labor. You see, in other countries, you go places like Korea, Japan, labor is dignity. You see, people don't like to work. They want to expect free things. So these things will still exist, even if you take Weah out today. You see, I mean, all these people, around Weah, these are the guys who contribute to everything. I'm not saying Weah is not part of it. He's part of it. But our society needs to change, my brother. Even the little kids that are born today, they all being immersed. IMMERSE. They are being immersed in the system. It's systemic. People are lazy. People expect free things. It started with Tottenham open door policy when Tottenham started giving free things to the people. And these things are degenerated to today.
All right.
So I'm sorry. I mean, you advocating, you're doing good things, but basically, all these things just going on deaf ears.
All right,
The system is systemic. You have to change the system. It's not we are alone. The whole government, starting with the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive.
All right. Thank you. No, hold on. Let's take one more, and then you can come in, Mr. Kpadeh. Let's take this one, and this is Pape Flomo. Pape Flomo, welcome to Focus on Liberia. First of all, we want to know from you what is your political alignment, and we also want to know whether you believe that we are standing or stranded on the promises of Weah, and then you go straight back to the issue.
First of all, thanks for having me. And I don't have any political alignment. I only support President George Weah because I believe in the things that he has done in the past and he keeps doing. And I don't think we are stranded. We've been in, I think, 2.5 years, and the president has done an enormous job from taking this country where it was to where it is now. Well, the economic situation we find in Liberia today is something that was eminent. It couldn't have been avoided. Even if Barack Obama was president of Liberia in 2018, when George Weah ascended to the presidency, it would have been the same. Even if Donald Trump was president, it would have been. Even if Jesus Christ was president, it would have been the same. So I think we're on the right path. Now, I have a question for Mr. Kpadeh. When you talk about not Jefferson Koji, but Moluba Molu, when you talk about Moluba Molu talking liquor talk, Moluba Molu said it was liquor talk. When you said that, Mr. Kpadeh said, no. Moluba Molu is a man of integrity. That's what he said. Those were his words, not my words. So if Mr. Kpadeh is saying Moluba Molu is a man of integrity, and if Moluba Molu comes out tomorrow saying something very negative and derogatory about him, should we believe Moluba Molu because he, Mr. Kpadeh, said Moluba Molu is a man of integrity? That's my question. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. You can take those ones.
And so before you take that one, I want to piggyback on the first one because you talk about it. Boo, you only talk about system. And he said this has been an old age. If we don't fix the system, even whoever gets there is still the same. And that takes us back to what we're talking, that you were part of the early administration and you didn't condemn those things. Now they are coming back and you're talking. That's the meat I want to put on that question. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me respond to So let me piggyback on that as well. Look. I'm not here to dabble in the history. Mr. Weah came to power promising the Liberian people and his agenda was hope for change. All right? I'm not here to bring the Ellen government or the Togo government, whatever, on the spotlight in terms of the justice or in terms of any query. Mr. Weah promised the Liberian people that when you gave me power, I will change it. I would not steal the public money.
Mr. Kpadeh, let me stop you. Let me stop you. Let me stop you right there, because is the person who gave the message, if they are finding you not credible because of things you did in the past, I'm not saying you did those things, then breaking in history is very important because they want to believe the messenger.
Yeah, but let me land my point. Just hold on, let me land my point, all right? Now, so Mr. Weah promised that there will be change, all right? And he currently called the changes that will be made. He's been president 2 years and counting, okay? Have we seen those changes? Absolutely no. And this is where we anchored our argument, all right? So when the president comes to power and present an agenda to the people, when you fail to stand by your agenda and keep your promises, we bring you to book. This is what we do. Now, on the issue about whether I work in the Ellen region, Chief, the people who ask me the question do not have any moral ground to ask me that question. Because Mr. Weah worked for Ellen, all right? Mr. Weah received every money for peacekeeping. You want to know the accountability of that money. Mr. Twa worked for Ellen. Mr. Magay worked for Ellen. So if you see this and ask and posting that question, it's frivolous question because that's not the argument yet. All right? The argument should be, look, you said X, Y, Z. Okay, if you believe Ellen did not do good, I challenge Mr. Weah to find the temerity to bring Ellen to book. Why is he not doing that? It is said to me when you say Ellen, your predecessor was this, was that, but then you come up, okay, and you fit into that. All right, we know Ellen gave you a lot of support. She gave you grace to come to the presidency. So if you do have any sense of integrity, all right, and loyal to the Liberian people, all right, go after Ellen, go after her official, okay. If you even think I worked for 3 years and a half, if you think that Kpadeh stole public money, go after me. I'm right in the country. So that's a bogus argument. There's no argument about you work with Ellen government or Ellen this, that. We are asking Mr. Weah to find the courage. I just said to you, Mr. Weah hired Councillor Arthur Johnson to go after public officials, all right, to recover public asset. What has happened now? The man has resigned, citing lack of political will and lack of genuineness. So the argument from Flomo and others, okay, cannot hold. So if we want Mr. Weah to stick to his promise, I'm not going to waste my time in the history. I'm saying Mr. Weah promised me as a Liberian citizen, I will do this, I will do that, I will do this. I will take a flat away from the old decadence. I will take a flat away from the debauchery. So now you have the power, you have the gavel. If you say Ellen governance, 12 years was bad, Ellen stole public money, Ellen looted the Noka, find the courage to bring Ellen to book. If you can't bring Ellen to book, then shut up. What I'm saying, I'm holding you to the promises to the Liberian people. And not to just Kpadeh, forget about the politics. What about Liberians in Banga? What about Liberians in Kokoya? What about Liberians in Lofa? What about Liberians in the Southeast who've been denied rules? Do you not owe them some explanation? Do you not stand? Why you should not stand for them? You should stand for them. So if you cannot find the courage to go after people you claim allegedly stole public money, then you shut up. Then you don't have any guts to do that. We are saying now, you promise us to do this, to do that, to do this. You have not done that. On the other hand, to Flomo said, President Weah to move the country from this place to the place. I wish he had said that to you. You said, President Weah to the country from this place to the place. What did he take the country? What is deliverables? Tell me again. It's one thing that make statement and what's the validity of the statement? All right? Is that statement and got on fire? No. What has he done? In keeping with the promises he made. We want to know that. We talk about all the issues here, the 25 million issue, the 10 million issue, the 16 billion issue. We talk about the issue of donor money. We talk about integrity, transparency. We talk about competence. All right. We talk on the issue of tribalism here and regionalism here. Okay. We talk about the issue of unity and unifying the country. What has he done? The country is divided more on him. At least Ellen found that the merit to say, I failed at reconciliation. Mr. Weah came, claim to be a grassroots on the backs of the poor people. What is he doing? Is the country united? So we have to learn to speak the truth.
All right. Again, folks, in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony C., hosting with Mr. Dennis Jai, and we are discussing the topic, are we standing or are we stranded on the promises of President George Weah? We will be moving into our final segment of the show, but I see that we have a caller by the name Dixon Gonga. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Mr. Gonga, strictly to the issue, what's your standing, and are we standing or are we stranded?
We are standing according to the proper agenda. But anyway, thank you for inviting me on this show, and then we come to this show with civility. Because the reason why I'm saying this, your studio guest, Mr. Kpadeh, is accustomed to insulting people on show whenever he go in studio.
Really?
So as such, we should respect the rules, the golden rule. I can remember a month ago, he was in OKFM studio, and then we called, we make our point, we disagree with him on issue, and he started throwing insult at us. So from this point, please allow him to take this key word into consideration. That when you go to the studio, you need to be safer in studio and listen to people who are going to disagree with you. Now he has called people in our studio, sedition, and he continued to throw words. But my point has to do with this, and we have to do it quick because other people on the show. This is Mr. Kpadeh, who went to the United Party, served as one of the arms to the information ministry. He never one day disagreed with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf or Joseph Boyka. This is the man who agreed with his uncle Joseph Boyka that was given $30 million for a rest project by the Liberian government. He never one day chastised them how the policy was going to work out. This is the man who lied to the Liberian people that George Weah was a U.S. citizen, and he paraded a passport 2017 election, paraded a passport with a U.S. visa in it. How can you be a U.S. citizen and have a U.S. visa in a passport? There's a man who was frustrated and was defeated and left the masses that he was proclaiming that he was fighting for. He left them and went overseas to get a master's degree and came back with a charity program called One People Movement. There's the man who continued to chastise people and said, Bonuba Molu is the man with no integrity. But he sat there, a lawmaker from District 10, Koluba, went and said the president has a money or continue behind his house. He never chastised that lawmaker. Which integrity is he speaking of? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. That was loaded for you, Mr. Kpadeh. You want to swallow that?
I'll take it point by point. The first I'll take it point by point by point. Number one, I've had this show, we've been talking. Did you hear me insult anybody?
I would say no.
And I don't do that. I mean, this is the very first time somebody accuses me of insulting people because that's not my style. You read my writing, they're on the facts. You follow my expose on the facts. I know they from CDC call in and insult me. And I understand why. Because I think they don't have the capacity to respond to me on the basis of facts. I never insulted anybody yet. That's not true. I don't do that. All right? Everyone knows me to be a very professional, well-polished guy. So just correct that fact, that erroneous comment. That's not true. That's wrong. Number two, he said, Joseph Boyka was given $30 million. I do not speak for Joseph Boyka, so that's not true. But what is the fact? You see, when we come to public air, to the public radio, we have to learn to say the truth. Joseph Boyka was never given $30 million to do agricultural work. I do not speak with Joseph Boyka. Maybe you can speak with people from the Joseph Boyka office, but that is not true, and he can prove that. All right. The rest of the other things he said, I don't understand that. He said, "Well, I went to England to go to school. Is it crime to go to school?" Yes, go to school. I encourage you to go to school because when you go to school, you'll be rational. All right. So go to school. Nothing wrong with going to school. And this is my country. So I come back from school, I look at my history, I said, look, there's a need for us to begin to talk about governance in this country, political governance. Let's begin to think revolutionary, as a revolutionary, than the regular politics of politics, because politics hasn't helped our country. So when we established the One People Revolutionary Movement, It was not established to tackle you and to attack you. Besides the One People Revolutionary Movement, I'm entitled to my political views and my dissent. I will express them. And if Weah does not proceed well, or the regime does not proceed well, I will call you to order. If that hurts you, that's up to you. But I will do what I have to do because we own the country together. You own the country, I own the country. Collectively, we own it together. It's not owned by one man. That you president of the country does not give you any right to anchor our country in a way that you feel. No. It must be anchored in keeping with the law. So I don't care about that, your personal sentiment with me. Second thing, I also think that a lot of them come to the fore with all information. And it's good to do that. You must come to the fore with information, because when you come with all information, you'll just be saying other things. Say, I'm going to talk about integrity, or talk about Mobab Mulu. But what do I talk about Mobab Mulu? All right, I'm not the one to judge Mobab Mulu. Mobab Mulu made claims, very revealing and starting claims about your government or your president. All right, there has been no response to the effect. So what issue you got with me? All right. I cited that. I cited other points. So I don't understand what you're saying.
Mr. Kpadeh, thank you.
Look, the argument here is we should ensure that this is not only where we are. If you listen to my commentaries and what I write and what I say, I have always said unequivocally that this country, since it was established, political establishment have continued to fail our country. They come and say one thing, all right, and do another thing. So I'm saying this must change. This must change. We cannot continue to be a country where we take political power, we subjugate our people. All right? Mr. Weah is an extension of that writing layer. And that's all I'm saying. Thank you.
It seems to be that the light gone, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, but they're trying to make that adjustment,
Okay.
We're going over an hour. It should have been an hour, we're going over an hour. So, but they're making that adjustment.
All right.
Can you see me?
Yeah, we can hear you, we can see you, and that is okay. Let's come to the final segment so we can wrap things out here. Like you said, the max is an hour and 30 minutes. So, Mr. Weah, when he became president, made a few promises that we think that he acted on.
Goodbye.
Let's see whether or not your opinion might be that we are also stranded on those few promises. He talked about the housing project. We see the housing projects going on in few places around the country. The Claratown, Gibraltar project, re-roofing those houses. The president started that. The tuition free at the University of Liberia and other government institutions. The reduction of allowances for government officials. The president also started some work on that. So somebody might be thinking that we are standing firm on those promises by the president. What's your take?
Let's begin with the tuition issue. Like I said, do we want free school or we want quality education? That's a fundamental argument. I would stand for quality education. Our education program here is critically challenged. The people that come from university these days cannot compete with people from Sierra Leone, Kenya, Nigeria, and other places. So for me, the emphasis must be placed on quality education. And quality education would mean revisiting your curriculum and make sure it's in line with other countries in the region, pumping money into professorship, training professors, training people in different fields of epistemology, very quality schools for science and math students, giving them lab, making sure we would begin to train engineers here and putting money in the school. For me, those things matter. It's not about just, look, we cannot politicize everything in our country. When you come and say school will be free, it's politics. We do not want free school. We want quality education. That's what matters. And for me, that's the fundamental argument. Okay? You can't say, well, edu free. But what happened? You say edu free, teachers are not paid well, they're not paid on time, there's no laboratory, the libraries are antiquated, obsolete books. The books are old books, they're not new model books. I mean, you go into laboratories, no new models of anything. Physics and chemistry students cannot do anything very excellent. So this is not the argument. You in the United States, you know the education system. I want to school in England. I want the best for my country. I'm not asking for free education. I want quality education. I want Liberian children, young people to have quality education and compete. The essence of education is to do what? Accentuate people to their dreams, but also to compete. So what good is it to me to get free education that is worthless, that cannot compete with Ghanaians, Sierra Leoneans, Nigerians, Kenyans? No, I don't want that. So let's put the argument in context. I'm not interested in rhetoric and politics. Let's talk about the genuineness of this policy. Look, let's put emphasis on policies already that put economic, social economic dignity on our people. Healthcare, education, and the rest of the other things should not be politicized. They should be driven by genuine policies, and we should make sure we do the right thing. So for me, it's not about free education. On the issue of housing, again, these things must be cohesive. Can the CDC government say to you, what is the budget of the housing department or the housing authority? Is there money to have housing for poor people all across the country? Or the president, when responding to some emergency, the houses were burning in Yucatan, you went there and built 12 houses. Or you went to Grand Cru because you'll be going there during the county tour and you built few houses. Is that what you call policy for a state? No. There must be budget as allocation for poor people in Nima, poor people in Grand Jide, poor people in Lofa, poor people in Babalu, poor people in Ketban, poor people in Bomi. That's how you do governance. And put money there to do what? To build housing, cheap housing, to what help them. But now when you respond to fire disaster in Yucatan, which is not, which we appreciate. As a president, he went there, people also got burned, he identified with the fact. But this is not policy. This is not national cohesive agenda. All right? And this is not how you run government. You run government by policy prescription. You run government by things that are allotted and things that are agenda driven. That's how you do it. And then ensure that there is outcome, because that's the essence of development, to ensure outcome. All right? And when the outcome against how it impact people. That's how we do it.
Thank you, Mr. Kpadeh. Let me inject here, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. Our discussion is with Mr. Robert Moncio Kpadeh, who's joining us from Monrovia. Our topic, standing or stranded on the promises of President Weah. According to Mr. Kpadeh, in all, we are stranded. We want to also let you know that we have an opinion poll. Elections is coming up in Monrovia for senator. So Focus on Liberia is conducting an opinion poll for the Montserrado County Senate race. In your opinion, who do you think is going to win? And if you have not done so already, the link is posted on our Facebook. Please go ahead and submit. Whom will you be voting for in 2020 Montserrado County race? Is it Abraham Darius DeLong? Is it Mary Brown? Is it Kimmy Weeks? Is it Isaac Vatogba? Is it Magdala Cooper? Or you undecided? So give your vote and let's get this moving. Still on the promises of Weah, according to our brother here, we are stranded.
All right, and Mr. Kpadeh, we come back to you. You just talk about the tuition, and you said we are stranded. I think so far, what's about the Valley Island? Are we stranded?
Is the Valley Island done? What is the status of the Valley Island project? What is the status? You tell me.
All right, what's about the Coastal Highway? Are we stranded?
Is there a Coastal Highway yet? We're stranded. What is the money? What do you get the money to do the Coastal Highway? It might probably cost you around 10 to 15 billion to do the Coastal Highway if you want to do quality road work and other things. Look, and I said this, and I said this with will and courage. I am not interested in mere political announcements when it comes to development project. I am interested in the substantives, genuineness. All right. Look, we do not interpose any objection to development. All we're saying to you, let's go about things professionally. Let's go about things transparently. Let's go about things genuinely. That's all. When President Weah gets involved in doing things genuinely, professionally, and with a sense of integrity, I will be the first man shouting aloud at the mountaintop, saying, thank you for doing things right. Until then, he hasn't done that. I will issue my dissent. I will criticize him. And I don't care which party you come from, whatever the case is. Now, someone talk about, let me make that clarification, because one kid called, and that's a problem. Many of the young kids call, they don't make research, they don't know people. I've never been a member of any political party, so you're wrong. I never joined a United Party. Did I support Barca? Yes, it's my right to do that. But you say I joined United Party? No. My life, 20 years, was in radical crusading journalism. Okay? Telegraph, independent, then I established the Pirate newspaper. All right? That will be relaunching very early, which you will see, the Pirate newspaper. Nothing else, nothing more. When Eddie asked me to help at the Ministry of Information, she wanted me to resuscitate the Lena News Agency, the New Liberia, and other institutions. Did I do that? Yes, I did that, and left them there working, and I went by my business. Okay? So you're wrong again. Do your research well. I've never joined no political party in my life. I've been no member of any political party, and I've been involved with no corruption issue. I've never been investigated for fraud. So why do you not take your time, stop the partisan madness, and investigate and establish the facts? When we come to intellectual discourse, what we bring to intellectual discourses is fact, it's intelligence. And that's why the young man who came trying to lie on me, and people know me, my character is stronger than that, to say, Kpadeh, go to public radio and insult people. I mean, the other way around. Everybody read my writing, you read my writing. I don't insult people. What do I insult people for? I'm a composed guy. I don't do that. So you stop that. You stop that.
All right, Mr. Kpadeh, final promise. This one is a major one.
Hold on, Mr. C. Let me read some comments. And we are almost out of time, so we should be winding down. This one from Boo Yole. Mr. Kpadeh, I feel your pain. Likewise, many Liberia, as I stated from the beginning, the problem is the system and the leaders we have had over the years, some of whom are committed and sponsor the civil unrest in Liberia, are still in power in the country. The system is systemic and the people are used to free things. Labor has a form of dignity need to be promoted. We need to discourage liberal arts subjects and promote vocational education. Alvin Sheikh says, Speaker, why are you so cynical about everything the president does? Miata Dan says, President Weah has done more for Liberia than any president in our history. Even First Lady is out there working vigorously for Liberia. Musu Stewart says, I agree, we need quality education. Government could subsidize tuition and provide scholarship to deserving students. Miata Dan also says, you went outside. What did you bring back to impact Liberia? All right. Dave Jassy, Mr. Kpadeh, I have read some of your work and they appear to be salient ones. What is absent from your work is how do we channel those ideas into institutional functionality instead of these individual endeavors? How do your ideas impact our political group? So those are the few comments. And again,
and gentlemen, let's do this because of time. Mr. Kpadeh, we will be asking you to close, but to close with this. And the final one is the president also promised us the War and Economic Crime Code. I don't know where we are standing or we are stranded on that. And finally, in the PAPD, it is said that about 1 million more jobs will have been created, especially for the youth. I'm not sure we are stranded, are we?
I put it back to you. Where are the jobs? Look, the issue of governance is a bread and butter issue. There's something in politics and governance we call the structural issues. Structural imbalances versus the structural advancement. The structural imbalances when we deny our people the basic needs. They don't have job, they're economically stranded, they make peasant, they don't have rights, and nothing flourishes in the country. The structural issues are the bread and butter issues. Our people need job. All right? That's what we call socio-economic development. Good schools, good healthcare. We should be moving towards preventive healthcare, not curative healthcare. This is where the emphasis must be placed, and it must be done by sound policies, policy prescriptions. Are these things happening? No, they are not happening. All right? So you talk about a 1 million job. Yes, and I told you I'm not interested in mere pronouncement or political talk, cheap talk. Why are jobs? To create jobs, you must create ambience. What are ambience? Liberia is not divided. Liberia is divided. The place is very acrimonious. You know, people staging protests every day. I just told you about journalists. Never in our country have we seen media people turn out in protest. This is a bad omen for our country. This is a bad narrative for our country. For the last 6 months, our country has been saturated with protests. Protest because of what? Bad governance. All right? If Mr. Weah was advancing the country properly, governing the country properly, along the lines of property, all right, along the lines of unity, along the lines of transparency, we would not be having these protests. No one against Mr. Weah. He's a Liberian, all right? He's one of us. He has his time to run the country, but we are on our obligation. We are duty bound to ask questions. Like Mr. Weah and his citizens did 12 years ago. They asked questions, they agitated, blistering opposition, all right? They chanted to Ellen Johnson and others, okay? And they made a lot of very outlandish comments. Like one of the young kids just called and said, they get Joseph Baga was given 30 million. So on what basis they get Joseph Baga 30 million? You see, so when you come to the public radio, you don't say gibberish like that. You see? So when I respond to that, I said gibberish, they say, but that's not cause. I'm just saying when you say gibberish, I'm a man who believes in saying things as I see it. You know, when you say cause, they're using vulgarity, and I've not done that. I'm too expensive to do vulgarity. You know, by the way, I don't do that. When I get to the radio, my kids listen to me, my wife listen to me, my followers listen to me. I do not trade vulgarity because I can speak a little bit of English, so I know what to say. I didn't get that. So stop that. But look,
Mr. Kpadeh,
these promises, we are stranded on the promises. The regime is failing. The regime has some more time to make sure it protects itself and try to find its mojo. I hope it can do that. But as we are now, things are very, very horrible. And I hope they can make a turnaround, press the button, all right, and institute some major policy changes, even at the lower appointments, to make sure they have good people to help them.
Mr. Kpadeh, finally, is there any promise that the president has fulfilled, or is there anything that he's doing well? And what, for those that you say we are stranded on, what is your prescription? What do you say to Mr. Weah to get things back on course? What do you advise?
Okay, so to change things and to put things on the course that is workable, I think Mr. Weah need to look at the cabinet. Mr. Weah must put emphasis on competence. He must go beyond the party issue, the party line, go beyond the party line and go across the aisle, look for quality Liberians, like what he's done in the case of the agriculture minister. We have no reason to resent that woman. I think she brings to the national table great deal of experience. But again, you bring a quality person, support them. Agriculture is the frontier now for economic development in our country. So you can bring a good woman or bring a good professional. If you do not support that professional and support the program, because look at the budget for agriculture. Mr. Weah claim they're putting emphasis on agriculture, but the agriculture budget is 5 million. You see the contradiction. So my suggestion to Mr. Weah is, look, Mr. Weah, you can do better by first looking at your cabinet, one by one. Put emphasis on what you call performance and competence. You are stay in militancy mode. You can be having power and be in militancy mode and be acting as you in vanguardism. You can be in vanguardism. You must be leading. And the CDC is not leading yet. Mr. Weah is not leading yet. He wants to go to the city. He wants to go to party headquarters, all right? Even in the midst of the deadly coronavirus. Mr. Weah just held a major political rally to salvage his political interest. This is wrong. This is not leadership. This is reprehensible. When the world is saying to you, this thing is dangerous, and we've seen it with our eyes. You bring Liberians, cluster the stadium, thousands of Liberians, all right? And then say, in the name of politics and in the name of blue retreat. You do not do that, okay? It questions his ability to lead the country and make sound decisions.
So what is he doing? What is he doing well?
Ask your people to report, see that they're failing, change them. Look, there might be some good citizens. You don't have to call people like Kpadeh because I'm not interested. But I still believe there's some good citizens somewhere. Call them to help you. Governance is about success. If you fail, yeah.
What is he doing well?
What Mr. Weah is doing well is a difficult question for me because if you do a panoramic review of of entire spectrum, broad spectrum of governance, I don't see anything yet. I don't see anything yet. Until I see that, and if I saw that, I will say it. But what is he doing well? Everything that you just named, what a unity, what a accountability, what a transparency, what a development, what a playing by property and by the rules of procurement, he's not doing nothing right. He's not doing anything right. All right? When he does that or begin to do that, I will find the courage and say it because I'm a man of truth. I'm a man of God. I believe in the truth.
Thank you, Mr. Kpadeh. It was a pleasure having you for the first time here at this network focus on Liberia. Our job here to always bring people who can help to educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Again, it was an honor to have had you. We appreciate you honoring our invitation. Please do not hesitate doing this again whenever we call on you. You bring spirit to the debate, and we appreciate that. Liberia is for all of us, and we must jealously protect it with everything we got. And I think you did that. Some may disagree. I may agree. I disagree. But you did what you were called here to do. And we want to say thank you. Mr. Ja.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And, I just pray for all of us. I know this coronavirus is so horrible. It's a killer virus. And we can only pray that God can intervene. But we all have to just follow the protocols well and keep protecting ourselves. I wish you all well. I wish you keep safe. I pray for our country, and I'm looking forward to the day that we can give our people better governance, and I just like to give him a salute. I will come again. I like to talk about my country, and I talk about my country very boldly. I'm a very bold talker. I fear not even weapons. Let's keep doing what is good. Thank you, and God bless you. And thank you for your for this platform. Let's talk about our democracy. Let's talk about our country. Let's keep talking. Dialogue is the way. At least we are not going now in the butches to launch bazooka. We are talking and exchanging in peace and in professionalism. I know some people come, they don't have no information. They say Jehovah, but again, we have to show them grace. I hope the young people will find time to research well, accurately, when they come to public radio, so that they speak truth, they speak sense, and appear decent, they're being foolhardy. So I want to thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. Mr. Ja?
Thank you so much, Mr. Kpadeh, for this time. And we want to also appreciate our viewers for hanging in there with us. Mr. Kpadeh, we're going to have you back, if you don't mind, because we enjoy talking to you.
Okay, sure. Oh, thank you. I enjoy it. I'd like to talk about our country. Let me know when you're ready, and I will be right there. I'll be right there with you.
Until then, from all of us here at Focus on Liberia, we say join us at 6 o'clock. We're going to be discussing climaxing our ethnicity series